frustrated because they're not helping anyone. They're spending hours on the phone with people and there are no answers. When I finally fell into the Emergency Care Act so that I do have some coverage, but I'm still in limbo, and that's kind of scary. And I'm reaching a point where I need to maintain medication. So Brian, the state representative here, has been helping out as much as possible, as well as other people. I'm scared today because I believe in Brian. I believe that he's going to help get this fixed.
Thank you, Maureen. We're joined today by a whole host of representatives, two of whom have led on this issue. Representative Matt Beaton, who is a small business owner. I'm going to introduce him. Matt.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta, yikes.
They're here to fix the program.
Right, yeah. None of the people on the where they are were victims who lost their health insurance, because that's really what this is all about. You know, we have this saying that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And I think this is precisely what they were talking about when we used that little saying, because we had it working in Massachusetts. As Representative Fatman said, we had 98% coverage. We started it off. We got it kicked off. The federal program was modeled after us. Why would we go to a new program that was modeled after what we are doing? I think everyone up here standing here with me realizes that you know, we did it right in Massachusetts. We figured out, we worked on it for 7 years to work out all the kinks and all the details that the rest of the nation is now feeling. And then we walk away from that. We walk away from all that hard work and what worked. It's now only to have all of these things that Representative Fatman addressed. We have over 200,000 people who lost their insurance who now try to go get on the insurance, try to go on a website that we spent a few $1 million on, and are now over $60 million trying to get to the new federal website. That doesn't work. It worked before. Why? Look, I stand here today looking back on that decision and saying, why? Why did we do it? What was the net benefit? Because for the cost of business and the cost for individuals, everything's only going up. The cost of your premiums, the cost of your deductibles, the cost of your co-pays, on some level, at least one element of that is going up for everybody due to our compliance, our attempted compliance with the ACA. So you know, we are looking at this and assessing this from now having a year later, and we look at where we are, and it is a crying shame. Because we did it right in Massachusetts, and that's all we are asking for, to return to what worked, to allow the state and give the state the right to control its own destiny and not embrace something that is unproven, that has no track record, and something that is quite frankly not working across the nation. So I thank you all very much for coming here, and we have some great people here representing the business community and fellow legislators who are going to really speak to some of the details of this. So thank you all for being here.
I'd like to introduce Representative Jay Barrows, who's been our healthcare leader for the Republican caucus. Jay?
Thank you. All I can remember 364 days ago during the debate was how we were going to get $1.8 billion from the federal government to reach utopia, to provide everyone that hadn't had coverage through the Commonwealth. We're going to suddenly receive it, and everything was going to be well. Well, I'm here today to tell you 364 days later, and millions of dollars later, that was not the case at all. We have seen employers struggle for the ever-increasing premiums. You have plenty of money for sirens. So, let me just give you a fact. Nancy Pelosi said We've got to pass it and then read it. No one understood then that your health care was going to be valued based on the lowest paid employee with the least amount of experience in the private sector, which meant in a lot of instances, folks now are seeing increasing deductibles, increasing co-pays, increasing out-of-pockets. Obamacare was supposedly modeled under Massachusetts. The essential medical benefits that we offered from 2007 to 2013 was significantly better, provided significantly more coverage, more predictability, more stability in rating, and more responsibility in providing people health care that they could actually use and afford. Today, under Obamacare, you could be out of pocket $6,350 with as high as a $4,000 deductible. Today, we're going to vote to increase the minimum wage to $11 an hour in 3 years. Do you think making $11 an hour, you can afford a $4,000 deductible? Do you think as an employee who suddenly gets hit with a Cadillac tax in 2018 of $4,000 and $5,000, the employer is going to have to cut the benefits in order to meet that so that they don't go bankrupt, so they continue to stay in business? This whole Obamacare is the biggest joke going. We had a plan in 2007 that worked. Employers weren't happy, employees weren't happy, but you know what? We had everybody covered. Hospitals were getting paid a fair share for their procedures. We passed 224 a year ago to really get a hold of costs. And now what have we done? We've blown the whole thing up. And we all are going to lose. And it interests me how no one covers this. Where is the press to describe this, to tell us what's going to happen to us? We're all going to get crushed, and we're going to die under the assault of no access to health care, because we'll be making decisions based on what money we have in our pocket, not what we can cover for a deductible. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Bill Vernon of NFIB to talk about how Obamacare has affected small businesses across Massachusetts.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Vernon. I represent the National Federation of Independent Business, which is a small business advocacy group, the largest in the state. And what small business wanted 1 year ago was not a compliance bill, but a waiver or an exemption bill. In 2013, Massachusetts healthcare reform was working. Not without flaws, the costs were too high, but the legislature had responded to small business issues. They had passed cost containment legislation and other fixes. The fair share issues where some small businesses were paying fines for employees that had coverage were changed. They were fixed. And yet, obviously, small business owners as taxpayers are concerned also with the tens of millions of dollars spent to correct the deficiencies of the website and other implementation costs. But the most frustrating part for small business owners is that we had that working health care law. We had essentially universal coverage. We were getting our costs under control. The uncertainties that business really is concerned about had been reduced. We had legislation and legislators and bureaucrats in our communities who listened to the issues and concerns of small businesses and could and did respond and make changes. We had a working website. Much of that is gone, especially the certainties. Massachusetts was the basis for the federal reforms, but often the federal changes from mass law disregarded what we had learned. And try as they might in good faith, the Mass Connector still has not been able to produce an insurance product that attracts a critical mass of small business owners and their workers. I think they have about 5,000 lives on this small business program now. We have partial waivers for the Massachusetts rating factors, but those waivers, while their phase-out has been delayed, are currently scheduled to expire in 2017. Rating factors for the size of business that actually would encourage job creation in Massachusetts, more jobs with lower insurance premiums, is being phased out. One of the most important rating factors for small businesses are the co-ops. that seek to give small businesses buying clout. Instead of buying clout, small businesses buying clout, rising to the level of larger businesses. Under Obamacare, we have buying clout that declines to the level of individual plans. We have a 30-hour federal work rule for full-time state status, as opposed to the more realistic Massachusetts rule of 35 hours. That will force employers to reduce hours and give part-time workers fewer hours, especially when the employer mandate is fully implemented next year. This brings up also the heavy-handed IRS regulation requiring employers to certify that their personnel decisions are not based on health insurance rules. I also have to mention the HIT tax, the health insurance tax, federal tax on all health insurance companies that will be passed on to you, the premium payers. And of course the tax on medical devices, which hurts Massachusetts more than any other state because of our industries here in Massachusetts that make medical devices. Small business owners are practical people. They really don't care about ideology. And what they want from Massachusetts is, and around the nation, is to benefit from what we have learned here over the past 7 years, the good and the bad, from Massachusetts healthcare reform. We want the healthcare cost curve broken by empowering small business owners and consumers with choices and options. The first step is to move away from blind ideological attachment to the federal healthcare reform law, which we saw a year ago, acknowledge the errors made and the unnecessary cost incurred, study it, and move back to what works. Thank you very much.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I want to thank my colleagues and Bill Vernon from NFIB. And I'd ask you all to remember one thing. When we were sold this plan, we were told, if you like your insurance, you can keep it. Well, come November, if you like your representative or you like your state senator, you can keep them. If not, you know what to do. Thank you very much.